Gerald makes contact with the Austrian team leader. He gives him his coordinates.
I started to think about that we have to wait after the thunderstorm is finished, and then we have to look around for these two pilots. I started to realize what happened.
Having narrowly escaped the storm cell, Gerald is now acutely aware of the danger facing Eva and Jean-Pin.
I was very scared to be inside this thunderstorm. It's like you are in the middle of the ocean and suddenly you have 100 sharks around you. You cannot do anything.
The only thing she could do was to keep the glider flying. That was critical. You don't know where you are in relation to the wing half the time because it's almost pitch black. So she's just trying to guess what's happening, feel the pressure in the brakes to understand if the glider's pitching forwards or backwards, with the hope in the background that maybe, just maybe, the storm might spit her out one side before it takes her up into the icy heights.
In an extraordinary feat of endurance, Jean-Pin has battled his way to the edge of the storm cell.
All of a sudden, as he was a little bit further away from Eva and more to the edge of the storm cloud released him and he started to come down. And at that point, lightning struck.
I could hear a lightning behind me. So I was really praying, if there are some angels or God, please help me. And I didn't stop. I was really hoping and believing that it's gonna be all right.
Driving the German retrieval van, team leader Stefan Mast remains unaware of the danger Eva faces.
At that time, I didn't know where she is. I knew that she was far ahead of my position, and I only knew that I'm under heavy rain and I couldn't see her.
Eva makes a desperate attempt to contact her support team.
After there was no response anymore, for me it was clear that this situation has a big potential, that this pilot will be the first I cannot bring back alive.
The lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere, the troposphere, provides just enough oxygen for humans to survive. In mountaineering, the air above 7,000 meters is known as the death zone, where the body uses oxygen faster than it can be replenished.
No one has ever been above 7,000 metres and survived before. In fact, previously pilots were even dying at 6,000 metres and 5,000 metres due to turbulence and hailstones and lack of oxygen and hypothermia.
My eyes are getting black and all my energy, all my power just left me.
No longer able to withstand the force of the storm, Eva is now being swept up towards the death zone. While waiting for the Austrian team to pick him up, Gerald calls Eva's team leader, Stefan Mast.
I tell the German team that Eva is in a big problem and they will not listen to me. I was frustrated and I was angry about it. I was angry about it because I had lost friends in thunderstorms.
This was so big, and the thunderstorm, the lightning, I was in a position where I had no chance to help Eva because it was raining like hell.
Stefan receives a radio call from team member Andreas Malecki, who has landed 10 kilometers away.
I was glad to have another radio call from Andreas Malecki, who reported his position where he safely landed, and I could take care of somebody from my team. But during the whole time, my thoughts were, of course, with Eva.
Eva has now reached a height of almost 7,000 meters. She is now just below the death zone.
The GPS recording device was recording climb rates in excess of 40 meters a second at times, which is an incredible climb rate. Having been taken up into those heights so quickly, she only had 2 minutes to acclimatise. The atmosphere is getting thinner, there's less oxygen there. It's getting colder, down to minus 40 degrees, minus 45 degrees. And then she passes out, blacks out.
No longer in control of her glider, Eva is now hurtling up through the storm at 100 kilometers per hour. Eva's track log reads 9,946 meters, more than a kilometer higher than Mount Everest. She's at the very edge of the stratosphere. Exposed to temperatures of minus 55 degrees Celsius, her freezing body has lapsed into a hibernating state.
The glider kept flying at that point, and at the very top of the storm cloud, the air isn't as turbulent anymore, so it didn't actually need any piloting inputs, because the paraglider is actually very stable due to a pendulous situation. The pilot hangs underneath like a pendulum and gives it stability. So her being blacked out inherently wasn't such a dangerous thing. If anything, it might have even saved her life.
The freezing temperature has slowed Eva's metabolism down. Her body now focuses its remaining resources on keeping her vital organs working.
Lack of oxygen at that altitude, normally you would only survive 10 or 20 seconds.
Mountaineers can survive at extreme altitudes in specialist clothing, with slow acclimatization and bottled oxygen. Eva, floating 10 kilometers above Earth, has only flimsy clothing and no life support. She should, in theory, already be dead.
She needed to get down as quick as she could before the lack of oxygen and the temperature took its toll and killed her.
With the storm finally having passed, Stefan locates Andreas Malecki.
Kam dann auch aus dem Auto raus und und machte eigentlich keinen guten Gesichtsausdruck. Und er sagte mir, Eva ist in der Wolke.
We were aware that one of our pilots was missing, and he said that he thinks that we will not see her again.
So dass wir dann eigentlich ganz klar die Vermutung hatten, das kann keiner überleben in dem Gewitter. Wenn man auf 4000 Meter ist und immer weiter nach oben gezogen wird, da ist Hagel, da ist Blitzschlag, da ist Erfrierung, da ist alles Mögliche. Das kann man nicht überleben.
The German team starts to sweep the vast Manilla flatlands for Eva. If she had escaped the storm and managed to land, she will almost certainly require medical assistance.
Ja, also ich habe dann direkt versucht, Evas Handy anzutelefonieren. Und da war kein Freizeichen, also da hörte man gar nichts, also der Anschluss war tot.
Unconscious, Eva has been floating at the edge of the stratosphere for nearly 45 minutes. No human has survived at this altitude for this length of time before. Even if Eva survives, brain damage and organ failure are now a real possibility.
There's Eva at over 30,000 feet